Hello, everyone. I welcome all of you to VAIR. And now we're going to discuss an integral part of the next round. Most of you who all have cleared the TISSNET now know that the next round is the extempore. So, it is an integral part of the selection process, and I'm going to discuss 5 mistakes that you should definitely avoid in an extempore. So, the first one is lack of preparation. Contrary to the belief that extempore is an on the spot or it is an impromptu speech and we do not need any kind of preparation for the same, but this is quite contrary because we do need to prepare, and preparation certainly helps you with extempore. So how would preparation help you? So when it comes to extempore, there are two main things that we have to see. One is your content, that is what is it that you're going to speak about, and the second is your delivery. How are you going to speak? So when it comes to the content part, the lack of preparation should not show. So start with something called content building. Look for some of the trending topics and topics related to your course. Look for current affairs and keep yourself updated on these current affairs and different topics. Prepare yourself, prepare a 2 to 3 minute speech and try to speak every time. So that is when your content building starts. Look for quotes, look for phrases, look for anecdotes, try to make up anecdotes so that when you start speaking, you can relate it with any possible topic, and it's very easy for you to proceed with an extempore without being afraid that it is an on the spot round. The next problem is a lot of us have a lot of ideas shooting in our mind that I can say this, I can say that, I could have done this, I could have done that, but what it lacks is, excuse me, so what it lacks is a lot of these ideas are not organized in a particular way. They are very haywire, they're very chaotic, and this makes your speech very chaotic. It makes your speech something which is something which we call like incoherent. All right. In order to avoid any incoherence in your speech, make sure that you're organizing your ideas well. What is it in particular that you want to talk about the topic, and how does is it relevant to the topic or not? So keep running for these ideas, and once you have these ideas, make some categorize them and have some blocks in your mind under which you will be phrasing these or rephrasing these ideas. So make sure that your ideas are organized, and in order to help you with organization of ideas, sometimes what a speech also lacks is structure. So, what exactly do I mean structure? So, structure means something like in an essay, most of you must have heard about introduction, body, and conclusion, right? Similarly, when it comes to an extempore, these three things are equally important. These are not only limited to an essay but also to a speech. So make sure that your speech has an introduction, a body, and a proper conclusion. So when it comes to the introduction, what is it that you would like to start with? You should preferably start with a quote. You should preferably start with an anecdote. The body should ideally have a lot of examples so that you could elaborate on it in a very well explained and a coherent manner. And finally, your conclusion should be power packed. It should be something that is basically helping you wrap up the topic as well as your speech in a very well organized manner. So if there's a lack of structure, what will happen is it will lead to confusion. And an extempore is such that if you are confused in your mind, it will show up in your speech. And this is what we have to avoid in order to get full marks in our extempore. So make sure you have a proper introduction, mentally rehearsed in the prep time, a body where you can speak about and elaborate on certain things and involve a lot of examples. And finally, the conclusion where you will be paraphrasing the introduction and the body. Make sure you're not making any new points during the conclusion, and you are not in a rush to wrap it up because you have exceeded the time limit. So make sure that you follow this. Now, the other thing is that you can also categorize or subcategorize your topic. So, in order to categorize or subcategorize your topic, you need to So make sure your introduction, body, and conclusion and your speech is completely in synchronization. And when you do this, you also have to take care of the categorization of topics. So make sure you have some subcategories in your mind. So, for example, if you're speaking on pollution, divide it into subcategories. Introduce with what exactly is pollution, go on to the types, explain each of these types, explain the causes of each of these kind of pollution, and then finally the impact of this pollution, and finally in the conclusion you can talk about the alternatives to this pollution. So basically you're categorizing it and then further subcategorizing the topic, which will help it to give a proper structure, and it will help you very easily elaborate on these small points and complete your speech in a power packed way. Moving on, make sure your language is not inappropriate or even your tone does not come across as belligerent or as aggressive, as violent. Your language should not be offensive, it should not be derogatory, and definitely not abusive. So, no matter how strongly you feel for or against a topic, maybe it could be really close to your heart and you might be extremely overwhelmed to get such a topic. However, it is very important that we keep our emotions in check. Once you keep your emotions in check, it helps you think in a very concrete manner, and it helps you to maintain an appropriate language, and your tone has to be very professional, very calm, and very to the, it should be very much appropriate with respect to the environment that you are in. So make sure it is extremely professional and your language is very subtle, and it is power packed and it is not inappropriate in in any possible way. The final point is very important. Make sure that you do not go astray from the topic. That means you are not deviating from the topic. For that, you first need to listen to the topic very well. Secondly, you need to comprehend the topic. And thirdly, you need to prepare for the topic on the spot. And fourthly, you need to mentally rehearse this topic and the speech in your prep time. It is extremely important, because if you go haywire or if you go astray from the topic, if you deviate from the topic, immediately your marks are cut. So you have to make sure that each sentence that you speak during your extempore is somehow relevant to the topic. Otherwise, it is no point speaking about the same. You will be wasting your time, you will be wasting your efforts. In order to do that, subcategorization is the best way. The other thing that you need to do is that you need to be very careful with the words. So if it is, for example, social media, boon or bane. Now you start with explaining social media, you go on to whether it's a boon or bane. However, a lot of students mistake this by saying that it is a boon in some cases and bane in some other cases. But that is not the topic here. The topic is or. That means you need to choose whether it's a boon or if it is a bane. Do not end up talking about both the sides and going neutral in your approach, because that is not what has been asked of you. So make sure you are relevant to the topic in every way possible. These were the 5 mistakes that you should avoid in an extempore, and I wish you all the best for your TISS extempore and OPI. In case you need any help, you can let me know your doubts in the comments below, and we will surely help you. In case you need guided assistance with respect to your preparation for your extempore and OPI, do hit us up and we will get back to you. Thank you and all the best.